I've been practicing my rap. Let me see if I can do this right. Hey, baby girl. Hey, what do you know about phosphorylation? Well, we begin the journey with... Oh, no. Okay, I can't do rap, sorry. Anyway, cellular respiration is about... we're just taking glucose, which is too big, way too big for us to do anything with, and convert it into pyruvate, which is smaller, and then finally break it into something even smaller called ATP. Now, this rap musical, you should check it out sometime. I'll try to get the sound going. Let's move on, though. Respiration, as I mentioned, it's to break down sugar, and the end of the story is we want to get to ATP. It's an electrical form of energy, so we're converting a solid into something that's electrical. It's going to charge our body. First step, okay, because this does not happen in one big blast. We have to go to glycolysis, which means splitting sugar. Sugar is a 6-carbon molecule, and slicing it into 2, we get 2 pyruvates. So do your math. We go from 6 to 2 3-carbon, so it all makes sense. We don't need oxygen for this first step, and that's important. You'll see later. Pyruvate is a fairly powerful product, but we can't do much with it. You could buy it, but it's a waste of your money because pyruvate has to move on to become acetyl coenzyme A, and we'll see what happens next. From here, that acetyl CoA is going to flow into a structure called mitochondria. And we have a series of reactions you could spend your lifetime learning about, but briefly, we have phosphorylation. And that's when electrons are transferred, hydrogen is added, and we get a high energy substance, NADH2. There it is. We also get 2 ATPs. So we're extracting energy out of that sugar, the kind of energy that our body can use. And here's the Krebs cycle where this is happening. Finally, we're going to move that electron onto a big electron transport chain. And this is where we really clean up, because the first stage, glycolysis, we get 2 ATP. Second stage, Krebs, we get 2 ATP. And the last stage here, we get 32 whopping ATPs. Down at the bottom of the chain, oxygen waiting, so we form water. I mentioned that 36 ATP per glucose. That's if it's aerobic, if there's oxygen present. But what if it's not? Well, in that case, we have something called fermentation, or anaerobic respiration. Here, we go through glycolysis, so same first step, 2 ATP gained, no oxygen needed. But now we're stuck. We can't go to the Krebs. So our body has to go through fermentation. Either if you're a yeast, then you get your 2 ATP from glycolysis, right? And then you form waste products, ethanol, which is basically ethyl alcohol, same thing, carbon dioxide, and heat. And this is the reaction that is responsible for $1 million wine and beer industry, alcohol fermentation. But what if you're not a yeast? What if you're a human? Well, then you go through lactate fermentation, forming lactic acid. This is what makes our muscles sore after a hard workout. And there's lots of other organisms, animals and bacteria that also go through this reaction. Here, instead of alcohol, we're producing lactate, carbon dioxide, and heat. So very similar to what a yeast does, except we produce lactate and yeast makes alcohol. So if aerobic's so efficient, look at that, 36 ATPs per glucose. So you got endurance, hardly any toxins. And it's very conservative. So why do we even have this fermentation reaction? Well, we have it when there's not enough oxygen. Think about it. You're being chased by someone, and you make that final sprint, and you go into an anaerobic fermentation. You're only burning 2 ATPs. It's pretty wasteful, but that final sprint saves your life. Or you're trying to make that baby, and you're about to give up, and you push one last minute and finish the job. So it can be life-saving and life-producing, as a matter of fact. Good summary here. If we look at this reaction, oh, here's my my last chance to try some wrap. I like the summary. These guys do a good summary at the end. Let's see. Right around here, okay. Well, okay, I won't torture you with it. Just understand, okay, let's look at this. Glycolysis, where's my little arrow? Oh, here it is. Glycolysis, first step, 2 ATP gained. Here it is. Pyruvic acid, which we can't do anything with, goes on to the Krebs cycle. Krebs cycle, big complex acetyl-CoA. Round and round it goes, generating 2 ATP. And then finally those electrons are going to go on to the electron transport chain. On and on and on. These guys are talking about respiration, you have to believe me. And we get 32, and so there we have it. Oh, there's my arrow. Hey, what if there's no oxygen? This is all we do. Glycolysis, and then if you're human, lactic acid. If you're yeast, alcohol, both producing carbon dioxide. Heat, and that is the story. Those guys tell it better than I do. All right, hope you enjoyed it.